From the Hill, Republicans win House, delivering Trump a trifecta. But it's so much more than that. I mean, look, you've got Congress, you've got the Supreme Court, you've got the executive branch, but within the House, you've got, or within Congress, you've got the House and the Senate. So it's win-win-win all across the board. These Democrats in the Supreme Court are going to be holding on to their desks for dear life. They will not resign. They will not retire. They are stuck. And they have to pray that Donald Trump doesn't, when he leaves at the end of this 4 years, that he doesn't give a massive boost to the Republicans again, because they're stuck. They're going to have to retire. And then whoever comes in, if it's not Trump now, if it's J.D. Vance or whoever else, the Supreme Court is going to be like 9-0 Republican. Or I should say, it's not really partisan, but it's going to be conservative leaning. The Hill reports Republicans are projected to keep control of the House of Representatives, handing the party total control of Washington. Woo. Take a look. Decision Desk has called it. 218 seats will go to the Republicans, and, ladies and gentlemen, potentially 3 more. Now, the projection that they have, I believe, is 220 seats. Did they get rid of their projection on this one? I guess because they called it, they got rid of the projection. So before they were projecting around 220 seats. We don't know for sure. They say U.S. House win chance is 87.9, but they give the whole green check mark. So you still got Alaska. You've got CA's House General Election District 41, and you've got 13. I believe that maybe, I don't know, there may be more, but I think the rest are just, Democrats, so we're not really concerned with that. But that's it. It's a slim majority, but in this day and age, it may as well be a landslide because it gives the Republicans literally everything. They're going to be able to get things through in a narrow margin in the House. The Senate's going to be easy, and then Trump can rubber stamp whatever he wants.
That's the goal. And considering the fact that it was like a total sweep, I know people are taking issue with the term landslide. They're saying, well, it wasn't so dramatic and et cetera. But the fact that the entire country moved right, the whole thing, every single branch of the government, the Republicans took, and the fact that the whole country had, I think it was a 20-point swing to the right or something like that overall. I think that still makes it accurate to say that it was a landslide, because the tone of the country has said, or is essentially saying, we are tired of the Democrat policies. We're tired of the open border. We're tired of the woke stuff. We're tired of everything the Democrats are doing. Now, there are people, of course, that weren't tired of it, but they're strongly outnumbered. And it's a nationwide thing. You can look at California. There are multiple counties that flipped in the state of California, and every single woke person that was up for re-election, they all lost. If I understand correctly, they all lost. Maybe there's a couple that survived, but most of them lost. You had 2 recalls. The entire country is tired of things like defund the police, which was a massive, massive reason why people voted the way they did, because people are tired of the lawlessness. They're tired of foreign gangs taking over American properties. This is all because of Democrat policies. All of these bad things, the inflation, the open borders, the crime, all of these things were were specifically related to Democrat policies that failed. And the American people just said they're sick of it.
What do you hope happens? Do you think Republicans are going to use this? A lot of people are pointing out that in 2016, there was a Republican-controlled House and Senate as well. But I would just interject real quick. There were too many never-Trumpers who are actively trying to stop Trump. So what do you think?
Yeah, well, we're not going to have a Russian dossier come out. We're not going to have that thing come out. Basically that was the Hillary Clinton research project that was basically used to torpedo President Trump in his first months in office. I think that President Trump, the stage is set. He's got the mandate on the border issue. He can tackle that all with just executive action on that. He doesn't even have to necessarily have the laws passed for it. I mean, I think that they will be, but he can just come in and basically get the border back under control just by signing a stack of stuff this high. He's got Tom Homan, who's already been announced. I mean, man, I wouldn't want to be.
They're losing their minds over Homan.
Oh my gosh, but he's a perfect guy. It's like this is what we need to do. We've had people coming here for 3.5, 4 years with no repercussions, walk across the border, get everything you want, fly anywhere in the United States you want. Here's your card for your food. We're going to pay for your lodging. That's ending. That's ending. And we need to, we don't need any additional laws. We just need to enforce the laws that are on the books.
Yeah.
We just need to enforce the laws that are on the books, and that will dissuade more people from coming. And I think President Trump executive actions can make that happen instantly.
The left is saying, how is he actually going to deport people? And they're surprised to learn that Trump intends to deport people. And there's this viral clip from 60 Minutes where Tom Homan is asked, well, how do you, what about people with families? And he was like, she says, people in families, can you deport them both? And he's like, sure, they can go together.
That's right.
Yeah.
And now the left has responded saying on The View, they're like, he's talking about deporting American citizens. Okay, if let's play this out. If a woman comes to this country, has a child, and the kid gets birthright citizenship, and then she is here illegally and has to go, why would her children not go with her? And but the baby's a U.S. citizen, and the baby can come back when the kid's older. I don't think they've thought this through. They also say their child separation policies. It's like, yes, if you are a 30-year-old man in the United States and you rob a liquor store, I hate to break it to you, but we're separating you from your kids. Yep. You're going to go to jail. Your children don't go to jail with you. When you break the law and get locked up, your kids don't go to jail with you. What is this weird thing where Democrats are like, this adult man has broken the law, let's put the kid in the jail with him?
And we're not 2016 anymore. We're talking about the Never Trumpers. We don't have Cheney. We don't have Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah, they're Democrats now.
Yeah. None of these people are going to be in the way. It's a whole different world. Everyone thinks so much different. Like Phil was saying, everyone's going to the right. Not to the right, just more common sense. It's the common sense core now.
Even Democrats who are like in, purplish districts who won because they're incumbents, they got to have their head on a swivel because they see this movement coming, the movement towards President Trump, the margins for President Trump. And in the House, they're up for election in 2 years. So they can't stand in the way of these policies or they're going to get smoked in the next election.
There's a mandate.
Absolutely.
Democrats are trying to claim there is not a mandate. The House is still razor thin. But here's the issue. If you're one of these Republicans that just won this very moderate seat that's being torn between left and right, there's no sensible middle ground. The left wants abortions to the point of birth and child sex changes, and the right saying like, yeah, none of that. If they do not deliver and stand up and say this is our opportunity, then they lose. You have one of two choices: be a leftist or be a conservative. Pick one, because if you try and play middle of the road, you are guaranteed to lose either to a Trump supporting populist or a far leftist. That's just it. And I expect we've seen this before. The squishy Republicans who are in the middle who are like, I don't want to make any strong moves because then I'll lose. It's like, okay, well, you're going to lose this time because there's a mandate. And if you block that mandate, everyone's coming after you.
Yeah, and we're done holding the line. Now we're going to start forwarding the line. We're starting progressing, moving forward to what we want, to what the common sense again. We're done just letting them beat us back. We're going to go to deport.
I think Democrats are screwed.
Yeah, they got no choice.
I don't know. Look, I've long talked about how CNN's lost. They've gone insane. There's this viral clip that's going around, and maybe we'll bring it up later in the show, where a guy's like, some people just don't want boys in the girls' team. And the other guy goes, stop it. Yep. No, you will not call them boys. Right. And he starts screaming and just like he's literally slamming his fist on the table. Mm-hmm. You can't even talk to these people. CNN, they tried bringing on conservatives because they know they have chased themselves into wacky world. How do you pull out from that?
Normie Democrats do not like that stuff.
No, they're
no one I know in my family likes that kind of stuff.
But isn't it funny now how the response from these people in media is like, maybe people really just cared about milk, bread, and eggs. Yeah. Oh, you think? I love this. Among Gen Z women, Trump improved, I think 11 points.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now all the pro-lifers are banging on their chests and hooting and running around cheering. They thought the young women were going to come out for abortion. That was the narrative. And there's a joke, I forgot who said it, but it turns out women buy milk and eggs more than they get abortions. That's a good one.
That's true. I like the idea that things like the economy are less important than, a fraction of a percent of the population being able to go into their preferred bathroom. Like, the American people are tired of that stuff. And I do think that it's a small wedge issue. Because there's a lot of Democrats that are saying things like, "Oh, this is not a big deal, like it's a small issue," and it is. But that doesn't change the fact that when you personalize it, as in you're a mother with a daughter, and you're like, "Well, maybe it doesn't happen," but I've heard stories that at my kid's school there are trans kids, and that means there are boys who think they're girls that want to go into the bathroom. That's going to cause a lot of parents to be like, I am done with this. I'm over it.
Well,
because it's not worth the risk.
Trump spent, what are these, like tens of millions on these ads where they were like, Kamala Harris is in favor of giving
them
inmates sex change operations.
Correct. State funded.
And it showed a clip of her being like, yes, we should do it. They're nuts. And so they try coming back being like, Trump's just throwing this issue out there because he's trying to confuse people. And it's just like, listen, you guys were campaigning on these issues. So I want to give a shout out to all these news outlets that are saying, why don't we have left wing? I love this, the manosphere one. It's like, why don't we have a Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, or so help us a Tim Pool? And it's funny because I'm like, I don't know, 4 years ago, I donated to the Democratic Party. I donated to Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard. And then instead of bringing sound, reasonable candidates, they decided to go with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I was like, I'm out. You had an opportunity. Joe Rogan was supporting Bernie Sanders. Yeah. RFK Jr. was running as a Democrat. The Democrats are screaming, why don't we have a Joe Rogan? Joe was supporting a Democrat, RFK Jr., up until you booted him from the party and to go independent.
The idea that the Democrats are like now like, oh, we don't have this, and how come we don't have this, et cetera, et cetera. It's because you blew it. It's earned it.
They're delusional in everything they talk about.
That's exactly it. Joe Rogan is going to sit down and you're going to say something like Donald Trump called Nazis very fine people. And Joe's going to go, actually, no, Jamie, pull that up. Oh, yeah, he said they should be condemned totally. When the Democrats keep trying to use hoaxes, this is what Greg Gutfeld, shout out to Greg Gutfeld, because he said on the 5 today, Democrats ran on hoaxes and their entire information cycle was downstream from hoaxes.
Yeah.
So instead of running on the economy and milk, bread, and eggs, they ran on Trump said white supremacy things, therefore Trump is racist. How could someone vote for racist? But once, this is fantastic, he says, once a person saw the truth, there was no going back. So think about what that means.
It also calls everything else they say into question.
But right. So if Democrats run on a hoax and they've got 50 and you see one lie, all of a sudden the rest of it's a lie.
Correct.
Yep.
Well,
and one thing else too that we haven't mentioned yet is that on the right, there's a lot of organic support. On the left, it was paid influencers and astroturfing.
You're right.
Yeah. Like unbelievable.
Oh, we're learning
$1 billion worth of like.
Yeah, but I mean, like Harry Sisson parachuting out of nowhere, didn't even grow up in the United States. Chris Mowry.
He didn't? Where did he grow up?
Singapore and somewhere in the Gulf.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How embarrassing is it for these guys to like.
And they were all
so
in for Joe Biden. Joe Biden, wow, Joe Biden's a great guy. Wow, Joe Biden's so wonderful. And then like the next week, oh, Kamala's the greatest. And then they got smoked.
And this is the problem. They're just like, why don't we have a Joe Rogan? And it's just because you guys can only lie. That's just it. This is why they don't like coming on these shows. And they've said it. Shout out to Marianne Williamson, who told us after she left, she's like, this is why I can't do shows like this. Yeah. Because we were like, here's real things that are happening. She almost cried when she saw the books that they're putting in these kids' schools. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.